Ah, I got the weird shadow on me. Damn. Because there's really nothing that I can like do about that. Because, you know, it's just like the sun. But anyways, I'm here today with my September TBR video. And I am feeling optimistic, guys. We are going to manifest that September is going to be the month of reading for me. That is going to pull it together. Because I have so many books on this list that I'm so genuinely really excited about. So I'm really excited. I'm feeling optimistic. And also I don't have too many like required readings, just my 2 book club books. So I'm feeling really good about September and I'm feeling really excited about these books. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So first up on my list is our Smut Club pick for September that I co-host with Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl. And we are going to be reading Don't Stop Me by Eden Emery. So this one, I don't know how Cheyenne found it, but she sent it to me and she was like, Sapphic, son's girlfriend, say less. Please and thank you. That sounds amazing. So this one, I think it follows obviously, and it's probably an age gap too. So it follows 2 heroines and one of them is dating her son and then the other one is the mom of the son, but they want each other. Like we get so much boyfriend's dad, but have I ever read a book that's boyfriend's mom? Absolutely not. And I am so stoked for it. I cannot wait to read this one. Honestly, I kind of want to read it now. Normally I try to save it for like the live show, like towards the end of the month. So it's closer to the live show. So it's like fresher in my head. Honestly, I want to read this one right now. It sounds absolutely incredible and I'm so excited for it. So that is Smut Club's pick. And I'm also super excited for Out of Bounds book club pick that I co-host with Nikki from Nikki and Bookland. We are going to be reading Garen Park by Nordica Knight. Again, I don't know how Nikki found this one either, but she sent it and it is an enemies to lovers romance. So it follows 2 motocross participants, and they are like rivals in the sport, but then they both, I think, live in the same trailer park, which is like called Garen Park. And one of our heroes, his dad, I think like beats him like really badly until he like can barely kind of get away, and then the only like doorstep that he ends up going to is the doorstep of his enemy's house, and his enemy's house, like, I've never seen this guy this vulnerable, I need to like help him out, and it ends up being their romance. I'm again super intrigued by this. I haven't read anything by this author before and I just think it sounds really fun. I've never also read a motocross romance before, but I like anything that has to do with like fast cars, bikes, motorcycles, so I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm feeling good about these 2 picks. Next up, I want to read Paradise by J.A. Lowe. So this one, I think I saw on like an I saw it on an Instagram reel and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks really fun. So I think this one is about a woman who goes on vacation to like some resort, and then when she gets there, I don't think it's like a spicy resort, but I think the owner of it like wants to give her a good time at his resort. And I honestly don't really know much else. However, I am going on vacation in September this month and I am going to be laying by the pool and I want something a little bit lighter. You know, sometimes I like to read some really dark, messed up things even out in the sunshine, but I wanted one that felt like a vacation read, and this one feels like a vacation read, and it also sounds super just like hot. So I want to read that one. Next up is a thriller that I've been wanting to read, and actually my hold from my library just came in last night, so I'm only a couple of chapters in on it, but that's Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. So I have read 2 Alice Feeney books. One has been an absolute win, literally one of my favorite thriller books of all time, and the other one has been like, meh, like I don't really care about it. So I'm looking for this one to be a tiebreaker. However, this was recommended to me by one of you guys, and it was back on my Instagram stories like a month ago. I made a post and I was like, y'all know I've been struggling with reading, and I was like, I need something that's going to give me Poker Face Knives Out energy. Okay, I've been obsessed with the show Poker Face. If you're new here, it's like literally one of my top shows of all time now. Absolutely obsessed with it. And it's also by Bryan Johnson, who made the Knives Out movies, and I love Knives Out, but like Poker Face is where it's at for me. And anyways, I'm like, I want something with these feels, like a whodunit kind of mystery. You're not like a domestic thriller where like the heroine's on drugs and she's like unreliable narrator, and then it ends up like being this whole like husband that's sleeping with the neighbor or whatever. I don't want that. I want a whodunit kind of mystery. And this one sounds exactly like that. It follows Daisy, who it's her Nana's 80th birthday party, and they all go to Nana's house on this remote island where it's literally like just her house, and they all go there, and then all of a sudden Nana dies, and then like hour by hour another family member starts dying, but they like can't, because of like the tide, they can't get off of the island, and it's like a thriller like that. It sounds amazing. I'm already intrigued by it. Also, there's 3 sisters in it, and they're Rose, Lily, and Daisy, and I'm like, Calloway sisters? Okay. So anyways, I'm liking it so far, and I'm intrigued to keep going. Next up, we have a new release, The Good Girl by Nikki Sloan. So this is the 5th book in her Nashville Neighbors series, although they are standalone, so you don't have to read like the first 4 in order to read this one. It's gonna be a completely new couple and everything. But this one follows the ex-boyfriend from The Doctor, which is the first book. So in the first one, it's an ex's dad romance, and so the heroine ends up breaking up with her like appropriately aged boyfriend and gets with his hot dad. And so this one is his story with the sister of the hero from the 4th book, the frat boy. And so I think the premise with this one is she's always kind of like had a crush on her brother's friend, who ends up being our hero in this one. And I think they have like a moment at a party, but they like don't, like it doesn't go past like surface level really, but then they can't stop thinking about the other. And then I think at another party they have like a run-in months later, and he kind of like rescues her a little bit, and then she wants him to teach her, you know, some things, and he agrees, and it ends up being their romance. Anything Nikki Sloan writes in this series, like I'm gonna read. I've absolutely loved all of the books in them. The Frat Boy and the Doctor are so far my favorite, but I have high hopes for The Good Girl. I think it's gonna be a good one, so I'm very much looking forward to it. What do we got next here? Okay, next up, I talked about this one in my Forbidden Romances at the top of my TBR video that I made last week, and that is Lessons Learned by Layla Simon. So this one is a student-teacher romance. I have been craving a good student-teacher romance, even though I've read I think I've read quite a few this year. You know, y'all know it's my favorite trope, and I just feel like it hasn't been hitting the same. So I'm really hoping for this one to be a win. So our heroine in this one, I think she goes out for a night with her friends, and then she ends up meeting our hero out that night, and they maybe have like a one-night stand, or they have something, they have some sort of connection, and then she shows up to the first day of school, and he ends up being her English teacher, and it ends up being their romance. I see student teacher, and I'm instantly intrigued, and we'll see if it's a win. I'm really hoping for a win. Next up is The Last Kiss by Anna Bloom. So Cheyenne has a Patreon page where she does a book club every month, and her pick for this month is this book. And when I saw that, I was like, I kind of like the look of that cover. Let me look it up on Goodreads. And I was like, oh, this sounds really good and like really emotional. So I think is this one where the blurb says something like the heroine, like just when she knows that she's dying is when then she like finds the hero, and like if their love can like work if she's like on her way out. I don't really know, honestly. Now I don't even sound like I looked up the description. I promise I did, and I read it, and I'm interested in it. But I think Cheyenne just wrote in her post that it's supposed to be like super emotional and angsty, so like sold. I want to read it. It sounds really good, so I'm hoping to read that one this month. Next up, speaking of emotional romances, I want to read When Ashes Fall by Marnie Mann. I think I'm going to take this one on vacation with me. So I got this one back at Book Bonanza. I ended up pre-ordering it from Marnie Mann, and when she was signing it, she was just saying, she asked if I had read it, and I was like, no, because I got 2 books from her, one that I had read and one that I hadn't, which was this one. And she was like, oh, it's like emotional, was like kind of warning me a little bit against it. Not against it, but just like, just be prepared that it's gonna be emotional. I'm excited because even if it hurts, like wrecked me. I'm very much looking forward to this one. So this one, our heroine, like on the back, it's been said that you can't love 2 men at the same time. You can't split your heart, soul, and body in half, but I'm here to tell you, you can. So I think it's a love triangle, but then at the bottom it says, if you think this story is about a cheater, you couldn't be more wrong. I don't know. I don't normally love love triangles either. However, even if it hurts was one, and I loved that. I thought it was done so well. So I have really high hopes for this. And also I kind of want some emotional destruction. So I'm hoping it'll deliver on that. We will see. Next up, I want to read Unholy by Shel Rose. So this one again is one that I talked about in my Forbidden Romance at the top of my TBR, because this one is between a nun and a retired assassin. So our hero in this one, he's now working for this new boss, and I think he used to be an assassin, but he's kind of like laying low a little bit now. And he ends up meeting his boss's sister-in-law, who is our heroine, and she is a nun. And from the description, it sounds like being a nun is not something that she wanted to do. It was something that she was forced into, and it's now he's taken it upon himself to help rescue her and to bring her out of the church and like being a nun. I'm excited. I talked about it in that video. I feel like I've read a lot of books this year with like a lot of like religious trauma and themes in them, and I don't know what it is, but I'm enjoying it, and I definitely want to give this one a go. It sounds really good and I'm excited for it. Next up, I want to read Was I Ever Real by Naomi Loud. So this one is the second book in the Was I Ever series, and I loved the Was I Ever Here? It was I Ever Here? That was book one. Absolutely loved it. I was like blown away by that book. And book two, the characters were set up really well for this book, because the hero you've already met, he works with the hero in the first book, and the heroine in the second book is best friends with the heroine from the first book. And what we saw, I'm most specifically interested in the heroine, because the heroine that we saw in the first book, she was like full of life and just seemed to like kind of look at the world with glass half full energy. But then when you read the description of this one, she's actually a cult escapee, and I think she killed someone to like get out of the cult, and the guy, our hero in this one, I think kind of recognizes that bit of darkness in her and wants to kind of like nurture it a little bit, you know, to like bring that darkness out to like match his darkness, because he's like involved in, you know, some crime stuff. And anyways, I'm just like, I really wanted to jump into book two right after I finished, and I just never did. So I'm putting this one back on my radar because I am genuinely really excited for this, and Naomi Loud's writing was so well done in that first book that I'm genuinely really looking forward to this one, and I love a good like cult escapee kind of backstory. Next up, I want to read Hush by Liza James. This is book two in, I think it's called The Pandora's Box. So it follows up Vibe, although this is like a standalone, like it's not with Aura and Ruby. This is with two new characters, but I think you saw both of them in Vibe. I just literally can't remember them if they were in Vibe. I think because I was so entranced with Aura and Ruby that I like didn't notice anyone or anything else in that book because I was too much into them. But this one is another sapphic romance, and it's set again, I think, within the club. I think one of our heroines is a dancer at the club as well and like worked with Ruby, and then I don't know how the other one comes into play, but I think these two, and honestly reading the description I couldn't really even like get an idea of maybe where the story was going. So maybe it's one that, you know, you kind of have to like go in blind a little bit, which I feel like with Vibe you kind of had to do that, and it ended up being like one of my favorites ever. So I have high hopes for this. And also I think too, these ones maybe have a bit of a past. I don't know if it's second chance, but I think maybe it's like dislike to love or something. I don't know, but I just want to keep going in it. And yeah. Okay, last three. Next up, we have one that I still can't believe I haven't read yet, and that's King of Pride by Anna Huang. I'm probably gonna take this one on vacation with me too. I'm gonna take so many paperbacks and then not even read them all, and I'm just gonna read on my Kindle, but it's fine. But this one, so it's the second book in her Kings of Sin series, and y'all know Anna Huang is like an auto-author for me. I literally used to read every single book of hers either as an arc or on release day, and I haven't read King of Pride yet, and I still need to get to it. So this one's Kai and Isabel, or is it Isabella? I think it's like opposites attract billionaire. I think I've been in like an anti-billionaire kind of mood lately because I think I read so many billionaires early on in the year, and I was like, I need a break. Like I love the money, but like I just need a break from it for a second. So I'm looking forward to getting back into this. And also King of Greed is coming out in October, and I just want to be ready to read that one when it releases. So I just need to get to King of Pride. And also I'm excited for this one because she even said in the little dedication, for all the girls who think smart is sexy and know the quiet ones are the freakiest, Anna Huang's gonna deliver with this, and I'm really excited. I was intrigued by Kai as a side character in King of Wrath, so I'm looking forward to it. I just need to read it. I don't know why I keep putting it off. Okay, next is Dancing with Sin by Alexandria Lee. So again, another one I talked about in my Forbidden Romance I want to read. So this one is a sister's boyfriend romance. So our heroine in this one, I think she's living a life where she kind of like has it all together. And then apparently like one night, kind of like everything falls apart, and she ends up having to move back home and move in with her sister. And when she gets there, she meets her sister's boyfriend, and the two of them are instantly like, we're into each other, but the sister's in the way kind of thing, and it ends up being their romance. I love a sister's boyfriend or, you know, like that kind of dynamic where they want to be together, but then the sister's in the way. Oh, it's so good. So I'm really looking forward to this one. It's one that I've had on my radar for a long time. I just put it off because it's a pretty thick, it's a thick boy, I think. But it just sounds really good. And I just read Rule by Cassandra Robbins, and that was also like a sister's fiance or sister's boyfriend, more like sister's hookup in that case, kind of deal, and I'm just kind of in the mood for it. And last but not least, I want to read There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. So this is her duet, like a serial killer duet. So here's the thing, I feel like I keep forgetting to literally read this duet because I've been so tied up in Brutal Birthright and Kingmakers. And then when I was looking at my bookshelves, I was like, I literally have this duet sitting there. I've been wanting to read, and I'm like, why do I have to wait until I finish Kingmakers? I don't. They're not in the same world, so I can go ahead and dive in. So this one, I don't even know what, like, how these two characters meet. All I know is that they absolutely hate each other, and I'm pretty sure the guy is a serial killer. Sold! So yeah, I want to go ahead and read that. I think it sounds very fun, and I love these covers, and I really enjoy Sophie Lark's writing, and I can read it like pretty quickly, you know, like I feel like they just kind of suck me in, like the pacing of her books tends to work for me, and I love how floppy this one is. So anyways, I want to go ahead and read this and put it back up on my radar because I feel like I've been so like zeroed in on Brutal Birthright and Kingmakers, and it's like I can go ahead and read that duet. I don't need to wait. So anyways, that is it for my September TBR. Like I said, I'm genuinely really excited about these books, and I don't know, maybe you can tell, like I hope you can tell, though then actually I hope you don't, because then it like would maybe be that I was like less enthusiastic in my old videos. I think today I'm just in a good mood too, because I go on vacation soon, so I think I'm just like riding high. I also saw the Jonas Brothers this past weekend. It was phenomenal. Oh my God. And yeah, so I think I'm just in a good mood today. So maybe you could also just tell from that. But anyways, that is it for these books today. And I will have my chat chill and get ready with me for August up on Friday. And then next Tuesday, I will have my wrap up for what, August? Why couldn't I think of the month's name? Anyways, that is it for today's video, and I will see you when I see ya.